How would you live your life if you didn't have electricity?
Can you imagine a time when there was no electricity? For a lot of people my age and younger, things like not having this or not having electricity to power things like tools, TVs, entertainment, seems like a hard thing to imagine. But believe it or not too long ago, many Missourians did just that every day on a daily basis. Today, we're going to talk to Mark's daughter and Melody Warner of the Phelps County Historical Society, and they're going to talk about what life was like back in the day, and they're going to use objects such as tools and things that you would bring into your home to help you explain and understand how people did live their lives when they didn't have things like electricity.
Here's how people lived. And they got by. It was hard work. Every day was a difficult day. And of course, women worked just as hard in the house as men did in a blacksmith shop or something like that. We take so much for granted nowadays, and we get these objects, then you have to think, well, if we didn't have electricity, how could we get this job done? The job still had to be done. And they had clever tools to do that.
Manual.
Yes, what we call the Armstrong Method. We kind of look around for things. One thing that we want to do when we put the museum back in the Dillon log house, we want to take the west end of the addition on the back, what we call the Snelson addition. We want to turn that into a blacksmith shop. And we've got a big bellows, and we've got the pan or whatever that they used. We need an anvil.
Yeah.
And we can go out and you can buy an anvil, but we'd like to find a historic anvil, and one that looks a little beaten up maybe. Yeah. And we haven't found one that we could afford, and of course we really want to have it delivered.
Yeah, they're heavy.
That's one of the prime attributes of an anvil. That's heavy. So we're looking for an anvil. We'd like to get that, and then we can work on that. But we're going to need some help. Somebody knows how to. The bellows, you had a big thing that you'd pull up and down, and that would get the air going through the hearth and all that. I don't think we're going to put a hearth in there for the.
No,
we don't want to have an open fire inside the wooden museum. So, but we can at least show what some of the objects were. And we have pictures, of course, of people back when a blacksmith shop always had a big bellows and an anvil, and, big hammers. We've got some hammers and tongs.
Mm-hmm.
So
tools.
we're working. That's an idea. We have lots and lots of ideas. We have a lot of tableware, and the interesting thing there, these were given by people who had been in Phelps County for a long time, and we were starting to catalog those and turn them over and find out that these were imported from England. And we were thinking, really? They imported these were ordinary people, you know, these were poor people by today's standard. Actually, they used English, China. Yes, they did. But it took a long time to establish a pottery industry in America. But in England, it was long established, and that stuff came over by the shipload. And if you've ever been to Kansas City, there's a wonderful museum there dedicated to the steamboat Arabia. And this was before the Civil War. This was about, I think, 1857 or so. The steamboat Arabia was going up the Missouri River. And it was above what's now Kansas City. hit a snag and sank. And then they salvaged what they could, but the river changed its course and it got buried under like 30 or 40 feet of. But these, well, I guess you call them treasure hunters. They knew it was there somewhere. And they taught the farmer who owned the land. Now it was great farmland, it was good bottom land, and they found it. And it was full of china and all sorts of stuff, boots, shoes, and tools, and glassware. And this was 1857, and remember, there are no states. They're going into like Nebraska territory and up the Missouri River into the Dakotas. And this ship is full of this stuff, and much of it imported. So it's no surprise that people in Phelps County had it and used it every day. So we're gonna, when we get the exhibit done, we're gonna put some of those up so you can see both sides, because usually it's the back mark that shows it. And we'll say, yes, this was made at the Meacham factory in Staffordshire, England, and was used right here in Phelps County. Look them up on the internet. People have researched these companies, so you can find the mark, and you can find, they always had a logo on them, and you can find out when this pottery existed and when did they use that logo. So you can find out, in many cases, about when it was made. And usually the stuff that we have is more turn of the 20th century stuff. We have to be careful with the Historical Society. When we say turn of the century, half the people alive now think that means from 1999 to 2000. For us, it means from 1899 to 1900. So we just spent 2 years, by the way, cataloging our artifacts, which we never had before. And I thought that was crucial. And I think got over 2,000, I think, if we did it over a 2 or 3 year period. And so those are pretty well cataloged, the artifacts. And now what we want to do is put some of them back on display. Not as many as there was. People were overwhelmed. It was like you went into somebody's attic with no rhyme or reason to it. And so we want to put it back with thematic sections and explanation of what the items are. Another big job.
I want to thank everybody who have joined us over the last 8 weeks for the various history videos we've been putting out. We've had several very successful collaborations with the Phelps County Historical Society. Our videos have been viewed over 5,000 times, and I'm just very appreciative of everybody who watched those videos and liked them and shared them on social media. If you're interested in joining the Phelps County Historical Society, it's a great opportunity. Dues are $15 a year, and if you look somewhere here on the screen, you will see that I put an email address there, and if you go ahead and email the folks over at the Phelps County Historical Society, they can teach you about what steps you would need to take to go ahead and join and be a part of that group. It's a great way to support local efforts to preserve and advance history on a local level.